Welcome to LogoTalk Radio, the world's first podcast on logotherapy and existential analysis. Logotherapy is a form of psychotherapy developed by Dr. Viktor Frankl. It relies on the defiant power of the human spirit to discover meaning under any and all circumstances. I'm Marshall Lewis, your host and a logotherapist. Welcome to your podcast. Coming to you from the great high plains of North America and from the southern slopes of Medvednica, this is LogoTalk Radio number 39, interview and poetry reading with Tanja Vu.
LogoTalk, the Viktor Frankl podcast.
The lush and luxurious LogoTalk Radio studios are humming with excitement as we prepare for our trip to Vienna. Keeping me going this morning is the last of our wintertime special blends, Pumpkin Spice, from the Nash Brothers Trading Company and available locally here on the Great High Plains. The world of logotherapy is also humming with excitement now, only days away from Congress Vienna 2012. The conference's theme and rationale is to analyze, discuss, and plan the future of logotherapy and existential analysis on organizational, didactic, clinical, and academic levels. On all four accounts, the need for reorganization, consolidation, and quality control, both in training and applied therapy, as well as for international academic cooperation, has been voiced in the past years in our field. The conference will provide an open forum, both to logotherapists in private practice, as well as to representatives of logotherapy training and research institutions from all over the world, to voice their concerns, needs, and ideas on how to promote logotherapy and existential analysis in the 21st century. LogoTalk Radio will be there, and has even been given a time to present in the busy program schedule. The next coffee that we have together will be in Viktor Frankl's Vienna. Joining LogoTalk Radio in Vienna is Tatjana Vucinic, MSc. Known in the art world as Tanja Vu, LogoTalk's frequent contributor is a Croatian psychologist, editor, and poet who writes music and sings her poetry. Most of her poems deal with eternal subjects, such as human spirituality, inner explorations, unconditional love, and the importance of bringing hope and feelings of limitless possibilities. Tanja holds the Master of Science degree in Health Psychology from Leiden University in the Netherlands. She lives and works in her native Zagreb, Croatia. Tanja believes that Croatia has a great hunger for more knowledge of Viktor Frankl's work, and notes that interest in the area of personal meaning is growing in her country. Frankl's books are extremely popular among Croatians. I first met Tanja through her guest blog on the Victor and I Movie website. That blog can be read at victorandimovie.com. And now, here's the interview. We're visiting today with Tanja Vu, frequent contributor to LogoTalk Radio. By frequent contributor, Tanja has graciously agreed to provide some of her poetry, which we'll be presenting on the show, and also Tanja has agreed to take our Overview of Logotherapy course and report back how that's going. So, Tanja, can you think of anything else that you'd like to add about your frequent contributor status to LogoTalk?
Yes, I'm happy that we talk again. I think we sort of found each other on different levels as psychologists, as creative individuals, and also people who want to participate in the development of logotherapy and in educational sense, also in implementing logotherapy in our daily practice. So in that regard, we somehow made a deal and managed to combine those different things. My view as a frequent contributor, my role on LogoTalk, I would try to give my own views of about logotherapy and news dealings from my side. Then also, as you said, sharing my poems and also sometimes music as a creative part of it. And also reporting about my progress in logotherapy education and possible new projects.
Well, Tanja, it's great to hear from you again, of course, and it's such a joy and such a pleasure to have somebody with your creativity, your intelligence, your passion for logotherapy on the air, and I am just grateful every day that we did find each other and that we're able to work together on this.
Thank you. I really appreciate your thoughts and about this subject. I'm really glad that I can contribute to both LogoTalk podcast and also logotherapy.
Absolutely. And Tanja, I want to mention for listeners who might not have been long-time listeners that you were our guest on LogoTalk Radio number 30, which is in our archives at logotalkradio.com. And in that podcast, you talked about logotherapy. So let me ask you, where have you gone with logotherapy since then?
Actually, the news are that I have managed somehow to create a special form of therapy sessions, because earlier in my work I did some individual sessions talking to people, and it was more like counseling stuff. Mm-hmm. I managed to implement logotherapy and to combine it with brief therapies or solution-focused therapies. In that sense, I'm working more official level, so to say, with people. And my main goal with this project is to help people pay attention to their present state and whatever their main problem might be at this particular moment, and to see whether they could find meaning in it or solution to it. So basically, we're trying to avoid common mistakes made in some other forms of classical psychotherapy, such as psychoanalysis, where there is a kind of hypersensibility and some kind of obsession with the past or with the problem itself. So I'm trying to assist my clients in finding a solution or possible different ways of looking at the problem. So that's about it as regarding news in implementing my logotherapy knowledge in my daily work.
Okay. Well, hey, Tanja, congratulations on that. That sounds... Well, that sounds fascinating, and I know it's brief therapy, solution-focused therapy is the wave of the future, and being able to bring that extra logotherapy touch to it, I think, is of great benefit to your clients or to your patients. So good job.
Yes, thank you. I mean, I think these two therapies or techniques are very good in helping each other to make a whole of a kind. So I think, I'm happy with it at this moment, and let's see how it goes.
All right. Well, you'll keep us posted on that, I assume.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Okay. Well, Tanja, of course I want to ask you about your poetry. You've just published a book of poetry on Amazon.com called The Whisperer, and we will put a link to that in our show notes at LogoTalkRadio.com. There'll be a link right up there for our listeners to go to. Let me tell you, I have downloaded the poems now. They're on there for 99 cents. It's a Kindle edition. Tanja, I've got to tell you, I do not have a Kindle and have not ever bought anything in a Kindle edition before. But for other people, for other people in my situation, I want you to know there's a free app up there that you can download to your computer or to your iPhone or your iPad or your whatever you have, and read the Kindle books there. So, Tanja, your book of poetry is my first Kindle book, and I've read it, and they are just fabulous poems. I want to ask you, what do your poems mean to you?
Well, at first I want to thank you for your kind words. I'm so happy that I somehow introduced you to a Kindle Kindle ways of publishing things. Well, I write for many years now, and at first it was mainly for my own pleasure, and it was actually a form of meditation where I would put away my own thoughts and just write whatever came to mind. But later, when I was reading these writings, I would find a meaning in them, somehow deeper meaning for me, a story, and somehow everything made sense. So also I tried to deliver a message somehow to people in a way, since I mainly wrote about meaning, about love, humanity, and those subjects. And so I had a need to spread these messages to people. I wanted for them to maybe feel those same feelings I had when I wrote those words. So, and to somehow return to their true selves, to be free in their creativity, because poems were talking about that. And so I figured at one moment that I would like to share my poems with others. And to be honest, I'm not the kind of person who would force an opinion to somebody. This seemed to be a non-invasive way of doing it, you know. And of course, for those who could find something in those poems for themselves.
Well,
so I'm very happy with it.
Well, Tanja, the poems are very beautiful, and
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I want to say they're noetic and they're meaningful and they're quite artistic, which, coming from a psychologist, is an interesting juxtaposition. It's just
yes, exactly.
Yes, it's just a wonderful presentation. I wanted to ask you about the title, The Whisperer. Who is the Whisperer?
Well, it's a great question, and it's also somehow connected with also logotherapy, and actually with this noetic dimension in logotherapy and the term, because the whisperer for me represents this noetic dimension, and he's a symbol for what is beyond, what makes us humans, what drives us to want to be more, to surpass somehow our ego, our own limited self, in order to be better, either within ourselves or in our intimate world, or in a broader sense of the word. It is a kind of metaphor for everything we cannot touch or see in a material world, but we can maybe intuitively feel in a more subtle sense.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And I should mention that these poems, the poems that we're talking about in The Whisperer,
yes,
are published in English, which
yes,
is not your native language. And so
no, it's not.
not only are you a psychologist with the heart of a poet, you've also been able to publish your work in a foreign language. That's just amazing.
Yes, well, I thought about spreading these messages to a broader public, to more people, and English is very universal language, so to speak. And I actually studied in the Netherlands in English. Actually, I also cooperated in my book of poetry with one of my friends, Janko, who actually translated some of the poems. I also have a goal to publish my volume 2 soon. It's all going in such a direction that it has an international feeling to it. And I really like this feeling because it connects me to the world. I would like to see myself as a citizen of the world.
Well, Tanja, I think you've certainly done that, and it's great to be able to read your poems in English. Of course, you have other poems in Croatian at your YouTube channel at youtube.com/Tanja Vu Poems. So I've heard your poems in Croatian, and it's nice to be able to read them in English. And,
yes.
And I should mention, I just find it interesting how small the world is and how international, especially the logotherapy community is. The Janko that you're talking about is interested also in logotherapy and hermeneutics. And to my knowledge, he and I and one other person are the only three people in the world who are working on that academically. So just
that's real great.
Mention it's a small planet in so many ways. But of course, the themes that you're writing about are universal, noetic, and speak to what is uniquely human in all of us.
Yes, exactly.
So, Tanja, how else would you say that the noetic realm influences your psychology or your logotherapy? I think maybe you answered that, but is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
For me, personally, psychology is actually a way of living. It is not just a profession. It is much more than that. In that sense, it requires a certain level of responsibility. So, in comparison to logotherapy, I would say that noetic dimension is actually a crucial part of it, if you know what I mean. So you really need to be intrinsically motivated to help, to offer hope, to see a broader perspective to life, and that all in order to really grasp all those techniques and therapy concepts offered. So it is not just the technical knowledge which is required for either logotherapy alone or psychotherapy, but really deeper understanding is required. So that is why I also admire Frankl's work so much, because of his evident understanding of life's nature, of its higher realms, so to speak. You can feel so much optimism and hope he radiated to those in need. So it shows me how much he actually knew.
Right. Well, Tanja, appreciate that answer. You're a psychologist, you're a logotherapist, you're a poet, and I know that there are other things that you're involved in as well. You're also a television personality.
Well, I participate mainly through my work as a poet on television. I give some poems to one of our local TV stations in Croatia. But recently, I also started to promote this program of logotherapy and individual therapy sessions I talked to you about earlier.
Right.
So I'm just starting with it on a more official level. Okay. And so I hope my further education in logotherapy and also my cooperation with you will give me more practical methods and insights into different ways of logotherapy help. Let me say it like this.
Okay. Well, speaking of logotherapy training and logotherapy issues in general, we are, at the time we're recording this, just a few weeks away from Congress Vienna 2012. What are your hopes, your wishes, your ideas, your contributions for the upcoming Congress in Vienna?
Well, yes, I'm so happy to be present at this year's Logotherapy Congress, which will be held in Vienna, as you said, from 16th to 18th March, if I'm not mistaken. My wishes revolve around finding out as much as possible about new information about logotherapy, and also to meet new people, to maybe present some of the ideas and to share with them my ideas, and to welcome all those positive things that could happen regarding logotherapy in the future, which is the headline for this year's Congress. So I'm really happy to be able to be amongst all those people who share the same passion for logotherapy as I have for it.
All right. Well, Tanja, is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
Yes, I just want to actually thank you for inviting me to your LogoTalk podcast, and also to be able to cooperate with you on so many levels, as we said before. So I hope that my contribution will be of value to you and other people.
Well, Tanja, thank you very much for agreeing to participate with us, for sharing your insight into psychology and in logotherapy, and for sharing your creativity and your passion and your poetry with us. We deeply appreciate that. I want to thank you very much.
Thank you, and I really hope that people could find, in regarding poetry, that people can find a meaning to it and also a deeper understanding of it in their own lives. So it is like a main goal in regards to my poetry. Mm-hmm. And main wish that I have in that sense. So I'm not writing for myself, but to spread the positive feelings and words. And so I hope that it will be recognized in a sense.
Okay, and Tanja, let me ask you this question. Do you want to read a poem for us on the air?
Well, actually, yes, it would be my pleasure.
Okay.
There is a poem. I just see it as, so it has a connection to our conversation. Ah. And it is called Let Me Take a Look at You. Here it is. Let me take a look at you. Not in a usual way, but deeper. I do not want to see you through the roles you are playing, the roles you took on. I do not want to see you through the prism of circumstances, or through people who wanted to make you solid and unchangeable, so that they could frame you and easily pigeonhole you. I want to see your pith. I want to see the basic color deep down in your eyes, the color that creates our rainbows and glowingly vibrates through your whole self. Let me get in deeper, so that you yourself can fathom how far we can get, how profound the ocean of consciousness is. Together we make a pair of large eyes that can see something we cannot see when apart, something we cannot see when apart. I will help you to reach a more genuine and clearer self than any foggy notion about ourselves we have held so far. Look in the eyes of mine, and behold in them our common sleeping soul, and wake up when we look for it together. I want to see you consciously. I want to draw away every curtain, every layer of our non-existence, every layer of our non-existence. Let me crawl in deeper than fear. Let me sink in deeper than attachment. Let me plunge down deeper than the body. Let me dive in deeper than the minds. Allow yourself the magic of fusion at an impalpable level. Our own eyes will lead us to us, our own eyes to us. Thank you for being my mirror, for always reminding me that I am more than I appear. I always want to be the one who will look for the greater in you, who will recognize in you always, at every moment, our togetherness, our holiness. I will give my best to find in you the reason to always be proud for being human. And you, darling, you should search for it with equal ardor and find it in me. That's it.
Tanja, thank you so much for sharing that. That's one of my favorite poems of yours, by the way. And I don't know if you knew that. I don't think you did, because we didn't talk about that beforehand. But
no, we didn't. So that's great. That's so great that I choose this one in particular.
You did, because that has meaning on so many different levels. But then your poetry does have meaning on so many different levels. So rather than comment on it, I'll just leave it at that, because it's beautiful as it is. So, Tanja, thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Marshall, and really thank you for everything. And well, I hope to be able to talk to you soon.
Absolutely.
And of course, we will meet in Vienna, and so I'm really glad for that as well.
Absolutely. Tanja, thank you for being on the show today, and I'll see you in Vienna.
Yes, see you, and well, I greet your listeners as well.
The defiant power of the human spirit. Go ahead. Take your stand.
This brings us to the close of the final edition of LogoTalk Radio before Congress Vienna. When we return next month, we'll have news, information, and hopefully interviews and recordings from Vienna. We'll also continue with the Dr. Jerry Long Lecture Series. You can find the links from today's show, links for Congress Vienna, show notes, archives, and more at our website, logotalkradio.com. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/logotalk, and you can follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/logotalk. Please email any questions, comments, or topic suggestions to logotalk@pld.com. That's logotalk@pld.com. We've also set up a secondary email address at logotalk@gmail.com. That's logotalk@gmail.com. if you find that's an easier address for you to remember. Today's guest has been Tanja Vu. The LogoTalk theme, Believe in Me, a song dedicated to Viktor Frankl, was written and performed by Tanja Vu. Additional podcast identification is provided by Dana Simmons. The LogoTalk Radio logo is produced by my son, Franklin Lewis. I'm your host, Marshall Lewis. For information on our pre-approved continuing education course for psychotherapists, please visit defiantpower.com. Thank you for listening, and as Tanja says, may the meaning be yours.
I saw